This is the Mitchine, which is a ESP8266 based box. I made the wooden enclosure, and there's an acrylic front display. There's a capacitive touch button on top that, when pressed via MQTT, sends out a message to all the other boxes, everybody in the family, letting them know that the person who pressed the button is, in theory, thinking about the family. So here you can see my mother is about to press her button, and you'll see that the LED representing her, Mom, turns on. And when I press the button on my box again, it resets the display, along with, of course, sending out a message to everybody in the family. Here Dad pressed his button, and you can see if he presses it again, of course the light stays lit, but it blinks again to let you know that he pressed it a second time. I have my box just sitting on the counter, or the fridge, so that I can always see it. And the back has a clear acrylic glass, so you can kind of see the inner workings of the box. And there's also an engraving on the inside of each box that I sort of hand wrote and laser engraved. Here you can see Lindsay's. And actually, I'm going to zoom out here and you can actually see all of the components that make up the box. There's a few missing LEDs and a spacer actually, but gives you a pretty good idea. The capacitive touch button on top there I hammered out with a ball peen hammer. And this is the actual ESP board. The PCB I designed and then had printed up, and then I soldered all the little components on, which was challenging. This is the front display, and there's a piece of velum that I glued to the back to help diffuse light. And then a box that the LEDs are actually mounted inside of, and also that helps diffuse light, plus the wall wart. Alright, and here's a 3D model I did in SketchUp. You can see all the different components here, this sort of X-ray view, I guess. The button on top and the actual way that the ESP is mounted. And then, of course, this is an exploded view, which gives you kind of a better idea of how that front display works with the velum and so forth. So each box needs to be configured to connect to your home Wi-Fi. So each box will broadcast a wireless network, and once you've entered a password for the wireless network, there's a special web address that you go to in your browser, and this brings you to a web page that lets you configure the wireless settings for your box. So basically your home SSID and password, and you can check and make sure you're actually connected on this information page. A lot of the code for this configuration section is copy-pasted from various examples. Unfortunately, I don't know who originally wrote this, so I can't add an attribution link, but thank you to whoever did that. The hardest part of the entire project was definitely making 8 or 9 boxes rather. Making one I don't think would have been so challenging, but when you all of a sudden have to make 8 of them, it gets a lot more difficult. But I got them done in time for Christmas, and overall I'm pretty pleased with them, I think.